Have you ever noticed that in the Philippines, the smallest moments can carry the biggest meaning? From celebrating an Olympic gold medal to saving the last piece of food on the plate, these things may look simple, but for Filipinos, they reflect something much deeper: our values, our history, and even our identity as a nation. So today, let's talk about three interesting things: the meaning of an Olympic victory for Filipinos, the funny yet symbolic habit of leaving one last piece of food, and the powerful spirit of the Babaylan that continues to live with us today. Let's start with sports. You know, the Philippines doesn't always win gold medals at the Olympics. That's why, whenever it happens, it becomes a massive celebration. In fact, it's such a big deal that the president of the Philippines himself rewards Olympic medalists with 10 million peso. And that's not all. Companies join the celebration too. Real estate developers give condo units, airlines give free flights, and brands shower athletes with lifetime supplies of their products. Basically, when you win a gold medal for the Philippines, you don't just become an athlete, you instantly become a national hero. And here's the thing: even if many Filipinos, including myself, may not fully understand the rules of every sport, the pride we feel when a Filipino wins is beyond words. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the game. It's about our flag being raised, our national anthem being played, and our country being recognized on the global stage. Take, for example, Carlos Yulo's victory in Paris. When he won, it wasn't just a personal triumph, it was a national one. Historian Ian Alfonso beautifully explained why it felt so meaningful. He said, "When Yulo won in Paris, I felt proud not only because of the medal but because, in that moment, the world recognized us. Our flag was raised, and our anthem was heard." Now here's the twist: more than 100 years ago, in the same city of Paris, something very different happened. During the Treaty of Paris in 1898, the Americans and Spaniards sat down to negotiate the fate of the Philippines. Spain sold us to the United States for 20 million. Imagine that, our future was being decided, yet our Filipino diplomats weren't even allowed inside the room. It was about us, but we weren't included. So when Yulo won in Paris more than a century later, it felt like redemption. This time, the Philippines wasn't ignored. We were recognized, honored, and celebrated in the very same city where we were once disregarded. And that's why every Filipino Olympic win carries so much weight. It's not just about sports, it's about history, dignity, and pride. The mystery of the last piece of food. Now, let's shift gear. I want to ask you a funny but very Filipino question. Is it true that in every gathering, there's always that one last piece of food left on the plate? You know what I'm talking about, right? Whether it's the last piece of fried chicken, the last slice of pizza, or that final lump here, it just stays there. Nobody wants to take it. Why? Well, this little habit actually reflects two characteristics of Filipino. First, we value respect and consideration. Leaving the last piece is our way of saying, hey, if anyone else still wants it, go ahead. It's a form of politeness, even if everyone is secretly hoping someone else would take it. Second, it's connected to what we call higher or a sense of shame. Many Filipinos don't want to appear greedy, so they'd rather let that last piece sit there than be the one to grab it. Of course, let's be real, I'm not one of those people. If no one's going to eat it, I'll happily take that last piece. But generally, this little quirk shows something bigger, that Filipinos are naturally thoughtful. Even in something as small as food, we're thinking of others first. So the next time you see that lonely last piece on the plate, don't just laugh about it. Remember, it says something about who we are as a people. Now, let's move to something deeper, the spirit of the Babaylan. You might be wondering, there's still Babaylans today? The answer is yes. Among indigenous communities, there are still priests and priestesses who carry out spiritual, cultural, and healing role. But more than that, the spirit of the Babaylan continues to live in everyday Filipino. Historian Zeus Salazar described three main roles of the Babaylan in society. The Babaylan was the bridge between God and humans. She was the spiritual leader who guided people in their faith and ritual. The Babaylan was the storyteller. She chanted the myths and epics that reminded the community of their shared past and their hero. The Babaylan was also a healer. She provided care for both the body and the spirit. So if you think about it, the Babaylan wasn't just a religious figure. She was a uniter, a person who kept the community together through stories, faith, and healing. And in many ways, that spirit still exists today. We share a common story, first as Austronesians, then as a colonized nation, and now as a people still building our identity and nationhood together. Whenever we remember that story, we realize we are on the same journey, in the same boat, facing challenges but also moving toward the same future. That's the power of the Babaylan spirit, it unites us. So, whether it's a gold medal that makes the whole country celebrate, a small plate of food that shows our thoughtfulness, or the enduring spirit of the Babaylan that keeps us united, these stories remind us of what it truly means to be Filipino. And at the end of the day, these are not just random traits or habits. They are reflections of our pride, our history, and our shared journey as a nation. Maraming salamat, and if you enjoyed this Filipino story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, leave your questions in the comments, because who knows, your question might be the next one we explore here on the channel. This has been Ask SH, and thank you for being part of the Filipino story. Maraming salamat, and if you enjoyed this Filipino story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, leave your questions in the comments, because who knows, your question might be the next one we explore here on the channel. This has been Ask SH, and thank you for being part of the Filipino story.